Hello fellow book nerds, this is Gabby and today let's talk about tropes. If you don't know, I have a new series which is called So You Like ... like so you like fill in the prompt. So I made one video and it's So You Like Found Family, so if you want to check that out too. But in that video I made a claim, like found family is like my top 3 or 5 favorite trope. And then Helen asked, what's your top 3 or whatever favorite top tropes? And I was like, what are my favorite tropes? Because I feel like I know, but I don't have a list. And then turns out I lied. And found family is not in my top 10. But I feel like I have so many other very, very, very specific things that I want to talk to you about. I feel like found family, I did a whole recommendations video that's easier to define. So we actually have 10 tropes. I'm going to go through the tropes and I'm going to give you an example of that trope done well. And I had to separate this. Well, I didn't have to, but I decided to separate it into romance tropes and then just general tropes. Because there were so many romance ones, I felt like, why not just make it official? Let's kick off. Let's start with romance because that's always most fun. Number 1 is the fake relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, she or her, or whatever you say. Fake relationship, a trope where 2 parties engage in a relationship that's fictitious, but they try to convince other people that it's a real relationship. Fake marriage, even better. Fake engagement, not even better than marriage, but really good. The trope is executed in so many different beautiful ways. You have the arranged marriage kind of thing. I know it's its own trope, but I feel like it's just the broad category of fake relationship where, they come to love each other as they go, but they have to kind of fake their closeness at first. I feel like that fits. So, you've got fake dating, you've got fake marriage, you've got arranged marriage, you've got trying to make someone jealous, so you're trying to convince them kind of thing, doing it for the public, doing it for your parents. I don't care what it's for, I will eat it up. And I feel like in fake relationship, there's just so many little tropes that just make it elevated to the art form that it is. One bad trope. Listen, if in your book there's an opportunity to do the one bed trope and someone says, I'll sleep on the sofa or the floor, you have no taste. Like, you don't, I'm sorry. So many books nowadays, so perfect setup. And then someone's got to be reasonable. But my favorite, like PDA that is forced because there are people there. So, touching hands, kissing to convince other people of the relationship. Chef's kiss, top tier, number 1 trope. I love it. And then you have things like forced proximity. Love that little trope. And it's just superior in every way. And a book I wanted to recommend as an example of this trope was Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hilbert. We've got 2 people. It's a contemporary. I do love it in every single genre. But this is a contemporary where we have 2 people pretending to date to help a charity. Loved it. Really good execution. And I especially loved that one was they admit that they're attracted to each other and they're like, maybe we should just go for it. Not love, obviously, go for the physical. And I'm like, yes, you should. Trope number 2 is unrequited, I'm not sure how you say that word, unrequited love. And here, I specifically mean when they think that it's unrequited, but it's not. So I don't care for those pining people who pine for people who don't like them, no. But when 2 characters both are in love with each other, but they don't think that they have a chance. They don't think the other character looks at them that way. And in each POV, they're just pine after each other and talk about how the other will never love them. And then the other POV will just do this exact same. And you're there like, oh my God, talk to each other, but also don't. Because this is so good for the anxiety and the pining. It just makes everything better. And this is why it's my favorite trope. An example I had was An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. So in this one, it's a high fantasy and we follow a girl who joins the rebels to save her brother. I don't know if book 1 so much, but book 2, 3, yeah. Favorite trope, romance trope number 3, star-crossed lovers. There's just something special about the fact that they love each other, but they can't be with each other because of circumstance, because of destiny, because it's just, you know, when the timing is just not right. That's what kills me, when just like miss each other by a little bit, and one of them has to go off and like be immortal or something. I don't know. It's just, it hurts, but so good. It hurts so good. It's just the best. So I love star-crossed lovers. I mean, you know, you have all of the traditional ones you can think of, Romeo and Juliet, Tristan and Isolde, and all of those like Greek tragedies or whatever. I just feel like it hits different, you know, when you're like, they love each other but can't be together because usually one of them chooses the greater good or some stupid thing like that. And I think I have a perfect example for this, which is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which is a 1920s Shanghai retelling of Romeo and Juliet. Peak pining. And enemies to lovers, actually. It's just a good book that works on many levels. Number 4, we have the one trusted enemies to lovers. Love a good enemies to lovers. I just think, you know, it works every time. I hate it when people claim it's enemies to lovers, but they just slightly dislike each other or just don't know each other in the beginning, and then they start loving each other. No, that's not an enemies to lovers. A good enemies to lovers is when they have a reason to hate each other's guts so much in the beginning, and then slowly gets eroded. Like, it needs to take its time. It's an art form. And you know, with this one, if you can pull off a corruption arc as well, so you know, not the bad person becoming good, but the other way around. The example for this I have is The Wrath and the Dawn by René Adier. It's a retelling of 1001 Nights. We follow this kingdom where the Khalid, the king, marries and kills a new bride every single day, and the main character's sister got killed like that, so she decides to volunteer for the position of his bride, and then wants to kill him. I love it. I just love it. It's so well done. Every time I read it, I'm just like, this book is like speaking to my soul. I love it so much. The sequel, not so much, but we don't talk about the sequel. We talk about book 1, which was done expertly. Number 5, I don't think many people understand me, but A Lovable Man-Child. Don't judge me, okay? But here what I mean is, you know, when you have a female love interest and a male love interest, and the male love interest is just so helpless and stupid, and usually probably prideful and not willing to admit that they're stupid. And it's like a himbo, but not really. It's everything I want because I just love it. Because then, you know, I want to take care of him. I want to take care of him. And it just works. I think when I think about this trope, really well done was Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood. Amazing. That one is a retelling of Jane Eyre set in like a gothic Ethiopian inspired world where the main character is a Debtra who can get rid of ghosts, and the main love interest was cursed. Probably my favorite example, but maybe not as well known, very niche, is Empress Key. It's a Korean drama. It's a Korean historical drama, and the emperor, the character of emperor, I love him. I'll give my kidney up for him. I love him so much. Just so petty and childish and needs attention, and for some reason I love it. So you do with that information what you will. So those were 5 romance tropes, and now let's jump into the general tropes that I love. We have 5 as well. Number 1 is the secret identity / like secret heir. So here I'm talking like, you know, when you have a story and you have a little nobody as a protagonist, of course it turns out they are the long lost ruler of a kingdom, and they have super magical powers that look so OP. Yeah, of course. But that's like bread and butter of fantasy. I love it. So I don't want to give too many examples because that's a big spoiler, I feel. But, you know, Game of Thrones, at least in the TV series where Jon Snow is like a lost Targaryen heir, or Throne of Glass as well, there's a lost identity. I don't even like that series, but I like that trope. I think it's just a superb trope. Yes, it's bloody predictable. Everyone knows it. Probably from the first time they show up on the page, like, you're the lost heir, there's a lost heir, you're probably it. But that doesn't matter because of how much joy it gives me. And it's just so good. And the super overpowered one, I don't know, I'm sorry, I love it. If they're more powerful than everyone else put together, I kind of dig it. I kind of love it. I don't know what to do. Number 2 would be everyone coming together for a greater good. So my faith in humanity has been shaken lately, but my favorite like thing to see is like when you have a bunch of groups that are at odds with each other, and you know they're not working together, but then they have a cause that rallies all of them around, and like people just coming through for each other is a big thing that gets to me. Like it makes me want to cry every single time. Yeah, just like someone who otherwise not would have, you know, been your friend or something, just like coming out of the way to help you, and everyone banding together. This is why, like, you know, Here Comes Cavalry, I think is like a trope, where it's like, you know, oh, the big army coming to help last minute. That really gets to me because it's like people banding together. I don't know if it's a perfect example. Obviously, like Lord of the Rings, I think, with the Here Comes Cavalry would work. But I think Malice by John Gwynne, you definitely have like people from completely different parts, cultures, whatever, coming together to defeat the greater evil. So I really like that one. Number 3 is kind of, it was doomed from the start. I don't know how to explain it. You know, when stories either are told from like hindsight, so it's like a character telling their story from from place of having done it already many years ago. So, you know, when they reflect, they're like, and that's the moment I fucked up, basically. It's like, I should not have trusted this person, blah, blah, blah. I love that kind of stuff. Or when there's a prophecy and you kind of have this feeling of it'll be met, like the prophecy already said that everything will go wrong for this character. I love that. Or just, this is why I love retellings, especially tragic retellings. So for this, I think an example I wanted to give was Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel, which is a retelling of an Indian epic about a woman who exiled her son, who became like a big warrior, and it's from her perspective. But you know, like Circe by Madeline Miller, that kind of vibe of a retelling, and you know it's gonna end badly because the character tells you. I really love that because I don't know, apparently I like being sad, and like, I don't know, I like being sad, I don't know. Number 4, I called it secret puppeteer, but I don't know if that makes sense. Like a secret organization that's super evil and like machinating everything. I think it's just when a character is in a situation like a cult or like super weird neighborhood or something. Like think of like a Truman Show, right? So you have a Truman, and then it's like the whole life was a lie. There's this other layer that you didn't even know about. Secretly it's a cult, or secretly it's an experiment, or something like that. I really like that. I think that's really fun, and if done well, it can be awesome. For this, my example would be Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young, which is about the school for proper ladies, where these girls grow up to be good wives, basically. But obviously I'm not going to tell you the big plot twist, but there is like an element of that. I feel like you can usually tell that there is, because it's like always a super conservative, weird society teaching girls or people something really weird, so you kind of catch on, but it's still fun nevertheless. And then number 5, I would say, is like satire, being dramatic and over the top. I don't know if that's a trope or as much as genre, but I just think something like about books. So my example for this would be Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. It's just books that are so ridiculous that you can't help but like love what they're doing. Like In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, I think is quite a dramatic thriller. I just like the drama and the heightened sense of it, and I love it when author understands what they're doing. So like Beauty Queens, for example, is a book about a bunch of beauty queens whose plane crashes and they end up on this abandoned island. So it's like kind of like Lord of Flies, but completely different tone. I love it. It's so self-aware and so funny, and you just really know that the author knows what they're doing, and I absolutely love that. So yeah, just like this heightened sense of drama and being unrealistic, but not like magical realism, but you know, just like it's so dramatic and over the top, but it's so much fun. So that's what I love. Okay, well, those are my favorite 10 tropes. I don't know, all of them I didn't know official names or whatever, but hopefully you got the gist of what I was trying to tell you. Please tell me your top 3, or you can tell me more, but at least top 3 favorite tropes down below, and recommend me some books if you know that fit these tropes really well that you think I've probably not heard of, because I'm always on the lookout for more amazing books with these tropes, because if you have one of these tropes done semi-well, I'll probably love your book. It doesn't even need to be done that well, just semi-well. Let me know if you thought this was a good list. Do you agree, disagree? Tell me your favorite tropes. But thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could comment, like, and subscribe. I really, really appreciate it. It really helps me out. But that's it from me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!